There's a lot of things about Christmas that don't always bring you peace. One thing is untangling Christmas lights. I don't know if you've ever had to do that before, and then you get to the very end and you've untangled them all, and then you realize there's a bulb out. Now you have to twist every single one of them. And then you find out that actually the whole string is out and you have to go and buy new ones. It can be very chaotic and not very peaceful, and maybe even, there's going to be a person that's going to visit you over the Christmas holidays, or you're going to visit with somebody this Christmas that is not going to be very peaceful. It's maybe you haven't seen them for a while, or when they come to visit, they bring chaos with them. They bring disaster, catastrophe. And it's hard to find peace at Christmas. Today I want to help us by unwrapping Christmas and looking a little bit at the Christmas story and finding out how do we find peace at Christmas? Or how do we find peace that will take us even through the rest of the year? So the first thing that we see is that presents are strangely wrapped. This was odd from the beginning, that we see Jesus was born in a manger, a feeding trough. This is how the Son of God came into the world. He was wrapped in swaddling clothes, strips of cloth. He wasn't in nice hospital garments and presented to the world where everybody wanted to come and see him. No, it was strangely wrapped. This gift of Jesus, this gift that was going to change the world, didn't come the way we think it was going to come. Probably didn't come away a lot of other people. And then look who are the key people here. We got Mary, a teenager, who really an unknown person. Joseph, a carpenter. These would be the people that are going to raise the Son of God in their home. Presents sometimes are often strangely wrapped. And Jesus, even though he was the Savior of the world, was going to be wrapped quite differently. The next thing we see is that everyone is invited. Look who shows up to visit when Jesus is born. That shepherds came. Shepherds who were considered outcasts in society weren't even allowed to come into the temple. But then eventually we also see royalty came. Kings, princes, wise men, astrologers. We're not really sure who they were, but they were important people. And they came and thinking even again about strangely wrapped gifts to give to a baby, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Kind of strange. But everyone was invited. What did the angels declare? This is good news for all people. We need to recognize that Jesus being born was for all people. Everyone was invited, whether you're a shepherd or whether you're a wise man, or anywhere in between. Whatever class of society you find yourself in, you are welcome. Jesus is for all people. And then we see here that it's awkward if you call yourself king. The person in this story that wanted to be the king was Herod. And when these wise men showed up and said, "We're in search of the king of the Jews," Herod was like, "Whoa, time out. That's me. I'm the king. Who is this other king you speak about?" And he was jealous. And for us, we're no different than Herod sometimes. When we think about Jesus being the king of our life, we're like, whoa, time out. I'm the king of my life. I rule my life. I don't need any help. But it's awkward. Because when life gets hard and when we're going through things, we need the King of Kings to help us. The King above all other kings. And we need to surrender. What was amazing is that the wise men, when they came before Jesus, they bowed down before him and worshiped him. And they recognized that even this child, that they were in the presence of the King of the Jews, the King of all kings. Herod was not the king that they wanted to worship. Jesus was the king. And you need to make him the king of your life, because he is the King of all kings. And we, at this time, at Christmas and every day, we need to humbly say, I am not the king. He is the king. And come and bow down and worship him. And then we see that compliance is rewarded with chaos. Remember Mary, she said, I am the Lord's servant, do as you want. Joseph was like, you know what, Mary, you're right. That angel Gabriel, he showed up to me too. And you're right. He is who you said he was, and I'm in with you. And they made that they traveled together to Bethlehem. When they got there was no room. Here they were, God, we will do what you want us to do. And they couldn't find a place to sleep. All the rooms were taken. And they had to end up going to maybe a barn or a cave, most likely what it was. And that's where Jesus was born. And eventually too, that then this guy Herod, remember that we talked about, well, he got so angry that he wanted to, when he found out that the prophecy said that it would be a child that would be born, who would be the king of all kings, he had his soldiers go into Bethlehem and kill any newborns. And so again, the angel shows up to Joseph and Mary, and they had to flee to Egypt. It wasn't bad enough. They just traveled all the way to Bethlehem, and now they have to get all their stuff together and go to this foreign land, Egypt. But sometimes your compliance, you're going to be rewarded with chaos. Life is not going to get better. But what's great in everything, that God will go with us. God will be with you, even if it gets more chaotic, even if you comply and say, I'm in, I surrender everything, you may still get chaos. And then the last thing is that we see it's easy to miss the point. John tells us a verse that in this world there will be trouble, but take hope, I have overcome the world. See, when we're looking for peace, sometimes we're looking for it where there isn't trouble. And we think that's where I will find the peace of God. But God says that no, I come in to your world. I come in to whatever your situation looks like. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And yes, all around you, there is going to be trouble in this world. The world is not always going to be a pretty place. But take hope, I have overcome the world. Yes, will there be trouble? But there will be peace. But it's easy to miss it when you only see trouble, only see chaos. And you can't see that Jesus is right there. He's right there, even in the midst of your trouble. Louis Giglio says that peace is not the absence of trouble, but it's the presence of Jesus. Peace today. I want you to unwrap this Christmas the gift of peace. Remember, did you hear what it was? Peace, the P, presents are strangely wrapped. He came in swaddling clothes and was lying in a feeding trough. But he is the Savior of the world. Everyone is invited, whether they were shepherds or wise men. Awkward if you call yourself king. Don't fall into the trap that King Herod did, but be like the wise men and come and bow before God. see compliance is rewarded with chaos. Maybe even though you surrender and even though you say yes to his plan, think about this for a second too. If there had been room in the inn when Herod came to look for Jesus, there would have been many witnesses that would have been said, here is Jesus. But because they were in this cave and he was born, they were able to flee very quickly. And then E, it's easy to miss the point. When you look for peace outside of trouble, you're not always going to find Jesus, because Jesus says, I come into this world even where there's trouble, but my presence comes. I will give you peace even in the midst of trouble. So this Christmas, and for the rest of your days this year, unwrap the gift of peace, who is Jesus.